I mean, I'll call my own bluff on that. I've seen the most turnover, and I don't think it's anything to do with the role or the job. I really think it has to do with burnout.
I have 2 videos up on my YouTube channel helping you figure out whether you should jump into a career in school social work or school counseling. In part 1, we took a fun personality test and talked about the differences between each of the roles. In this video, if you chose school social work, be sure that you watch because we're breaking down what to expect.
We talked a little bit about personality differences. I want to add some more here. So yes, a school social worker is curious. We tend to do well with handling stressful situations, stressful stories, crisis situations. If that's you, check, you're down the right road. If it's not, and it's your passion to be, then definitely go into your MSW program and find a program that will teach you specifically school social work, because you will need an internship in the schools, or at least some experience in the schools, in order to be competitive in that field. And I have so many videos for you if you're in the boat of trying to get into the field of school social work. It can be a little bit daunting, a little difficult, because many social workers do not leave once they are locked into a school social work role. And if you want to call my bluff on that, now call my own bluff on that. This year alone, in the 2021-22 school year, that I've seen the most turnover. And I don't think it's anything to do with the role or the job. I really think it has to do with burnout and the ability to handle it all, because it is a lot. And remember what I said earlier, we are oftentimes the sole, the only, the lone wolf on campus or even in the district. So if you do not have a good strategy, if you don't have a good support system, then your risk of burning out and calling my bluff and saying it wasn't for you is very, very, very high. I have been fortunate enough to have mentors within the school social work fields. I also have a very dynamic and helpful and, amazing supervisor that will consult with his school social workers at least quarterly and hold monthly meetings. And so there's a lot that kind of keeps us from burning out, that keeps us from completely losing it. You will, as a school social worker, listen in and be privy to information that is pretty stressful and can really burden you sometimes. So you have to have really good self-care practice. School counselors often have a buddy or a partner that they can lean on. Another big difference is school counselors, their role is typically known. People know what they do. So a school counselor never really has to explain why they're in the school or what they're doing. There's also not a huge stigma that school counselors run up against. School social workers have the stigma of the title social work. There's sometimes that, trust me, when I'm making phone calls or home visits, I don't want to, I want to hide my badge. I don't want to share the fact that I'm a social worker, because it just puts the other person in some sort of mood sometimes, and I can't blame them. I think I would be a little taken aback if I had a home visit from a school social worker as well. So a lot of it is really empathizing and kind of starting where the client is and not taking things so personally. So yes, back to personality traits. If you take things very personally, if you want to be the shining star on campus, if you have trouble with boundaries, then this is one of the roles that is going to be very difficult for your personality type. Again, nothing that can't really be taught, but if you know that's just not your personality type, then I would definitely try school counselors. They do a lot of the fun stuff. Me personally, the fun stuff gets boring.
So if I've done it, I'm already bored of it while I'm doing it. That's something, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing.
I like the drama. I like the crisis. I like to be in the know. I like to run into the situations that are harder for most people to deal with, because that's just the kind of person I am. And if you kind of gravitate towards that, and that kind of gets you passionate to want to be there with people at their hardest, toughest, most emotional times, then you probably have that in you as well. School counselors definitely are there to wipe tears and to hold hands and to kind of share and bond with students. They have very wonderful relationships with students. I've seen really beautiful mentorship and guidance come out of school counseling sessions. However, I do have to say that the sessions they have with students are really, really quick. A way I liked to explain my role to parents and students, and I'll continue doing this because I hear a lot that new school social workers have a hard time explaining the role, is that a counselor oftentimes doesn't have the time and the opportunity, the space to be able to go in depth with coping strategies or maybe dig into a little bit of the root of depression or anxieties, right? And so we as school social workers are able to build curriculums around bullying, around self-confidence, around anxiety or depression, and really tackle those mental health issues. One of the huge misconceptions in the school system is the idea that a school counselor provides clinical services. That is in no way true. They will provide a space for guidance. However, the clinical services are not going to come from a school counselor. Possibly an LPC, which is a licensed professional counselor, and we can get into the difference between LPCs and LMSWs and LPCs and school social workers. I mean, the list goes on and on because it does get pretty confusing. However, school social workers have that time to really kind of break down and guide, right? It's not that we necessarily all provide clinical services ourselves. However, an LCSW in the school system definitely has the technique, the professionalism to be able to do so as compared to a school counselor. With the trend of mental health and social emotional well-being of students and staff and families, there is a high need for both school counselors and school social workers. I love working hand in hand with a school counselor. They definitely make my job easier, and I strive to make their jobs easier as well. So working together is all part of the process. It all kind of helps the whole thing flow. We definitely all keep children and families at the forefront of everything that we do. The great thing about schools is we truly are all working together, and that's the only way it works.
Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell. I'd also really appreciate a like and a comment if you enjoyed this video. Until next time, I am linking some vlogs up above, and I'm wishing you social work success. Bye guys.